สวัสดีครับ I'm Point from ค้นพบ Today I want to talk about how meditation cultivates emotional intelligence. Now I've talked about meditation quite often in these videos, and I want to recap on a lot of those conversations and go into more detail specifically on how it helps us to gain emotional intelligence and self-understanding. So first of all, meditation can mean a lot of different things to different people. For some people, meditation can be a way to feel good or to feel relaxed or to feel peaceful. For some people, meditation can mean a way to cultivate self-understanding, self-insight, emotional intelligence, and the list goes on. But whatever the method, they all have one thing in common. I think it's fair to say that what meditation has in common, regardless of what tradition or what method you use, it comes back to the practice of where you place and focus your attention. So I talk about insight meditation a lot, which is also called vipassana meditation. And from my understanding of it, and from some practice on my own, trying to practice as I can, and try to understand or reflect on what I have learned from it, I would like to approach this topic this way. So first of all, imagine if you were to meditate, you close your eyes, and you begin by placing the center of your focus, in other words, placing your attention on your stomach, so that with each in-breath, you realize and you feel and you can see, figuratively speaking, you can feel your stomach expanding, and with each out-breath, you can feel your stomach deflating. And by doing so, we are grounding our awareness in our direct experience in the present moment to the best of our ability. So you begin to do this, and very quickly you will notice that your mind drifts off. You can't even command your mind to stay on or focus your attention on your stomach for, let's say, probably no more than 5 seconds, right? So your mind drifts off. It thinks about something in the future. Perhaps you have some project or some work you need to do. Perhaps you have a meeting to go to. Perhaps you are worried about something happening in the near future, or maybe your mind drifts off to the past. Okay, so you try to see that, and you try to bring your attention back on your stomach, right? And very soon again, the mind will start to drift off again, yet again. And you'll start to realize, I can't control my mind, at least not directly. I can't force my mind to behave in the way that I want right now, directly through force, right? You can't just tell your mind to be silent. You can't just tell your mind to stop thinking. You can't just tell your mind to do this, do that. So that's the first interesting self-insight. Then you go a bit deeper and you return your focus to the stomach over and over and over again. And you just try to observe and watch whatever it is that your mind is doing. Then very quickly you'll notice that your mind thinks about something in the future, perhaps that you're worried about, and you produce some sense of anxiety or stress, right? And now you notice that, hey, these thoughts, this feeling of suffering, in that sense is self-created, because it is as a result of the way I'm thinking about the future and being lost in my own mind, in my own thoughts. Okay, so then you try this over and over again. You bring your attention back to your stomach, and the process repeats itself. Now maybe you're thinking about the past, and maybe perhaps you're thinking about a past relationship, or somebody who hurt you or betrayed you in some way, shape, or form, and thinking about that gets you angry, and so you see your own emotions. And if you just watch it mindfully, you'll notice that maybe that emotion of anger transforms into something else. Maybe it transforms into, first of all, if you feel upset, you feel angry, maybe you feel regret, maybe you feel guilty. And that links or correlates with the story that your mind is trying to tell you in that moment of time. So you begin to appreciate how your emotions and feelings are produced by the monkey mind who can't sit still. And in that sense, your own suffering, you start to realize, is produced from within, from yourself. You create your own suffering in that sense. And the goal is to watch these emotions, watch these thoughts, watch these feelings or sensations mindfully, right? And this is where emotional intelligence starts to grow. Because not only are you able to see more clearly the links between your thoughts, your thinking, your perspective, your attitude, and your emotions and your feelings, because you have to confront and watch them mindfully, you have to cope with the feelings of discomfort, both on a mental level, on a psychological level, on an emotional level, and on the level of feeling. So that cultivates or helps you to grow your tolerance skills, your coping skills. You're better able to handle your own emotions, right? So this self-awareness also leads to a development of a skill set that I would like to call coping skills. Okay, so then you continue this practice, and let's say that now you have a pain in your leg because you've been sitting there for 10 or 15 minutes, and you notice the leg having pain, or perhaps a pain in your back, or perhaps your leg now going numb, and you notice how you dislike it, and you notice how your mind is trying to judge it. It wants the pain to go away. It wants to get you to change the position of your leg or change the way that you're sitting. But if you just sit still and just stay with it, you'll start to notice another interesting insight, that actually the pain itself is one thing, but the additional level of suffering per se is also caused by the way that you're judging the pain, disliking the pain, trying to avoid the pain, trying to run away from the pain, trying to get rid of the pain. So you start to have the emotional understanding that a lot of your thoughts and emotions and the way that you look at things based on likes and dislikes and judgments, right, or avoidance or anything along those lines, it has a big part to play in your experience, and in this case, in your suffering, right? And okay, so maybe the pain goes away, or maybe it doesn't, or maybe you tolerate it more and you get used to it. So you continue the practice, and you watch your mind you try to bring your attention back to your stomach. Okay, rising, falling, you feel it, and all of a sudden, perhaps maybe your mind drifts off again, and now you start to see the very subtle judgments that your mind is projecting on whatever it is that it is thinking about in that moment of time. And these judgments are very interesting because you start to notice that these judgments actually serve to protect your sense of self. Perhaps, for example, maybe you think about how that friend of yours or that ex-partner of yours did something really bad, or maybe something bigger. Maybe you think about the politics in your country, the way the pandemic is being handled, the economy, or something like that. And maybe you think about somebody who you disagree with, you have a differing political opinion from. Maybe you think about somebody who you might not like. Perhaps it's your coworker or colleague or your boss, or whatever it is that you're thinking about. And you notice the subtle judgments that your mind is projecting onto those situations or those people. And if you watch it mindfully, you start to understand how this judgment serves to actually protect your own ego, your own sense of identity, right? And that's a very interesting thing, because the mind is very brilliant in that matter. If I may use the word brilliant to describe it that way, it is like a machine that works in a very quite amazing way in how it gets you to believe in the thoughts that it comes up with, and those thoughts are also focused on making you feel that your sense of self is intact. Now, for example, I talked about this in previous videos, right? About our ego and how whatever it is that your mind identifies with, it automatically feels some sense of ownership over. And when your mind feels some sense of ownership over something, for example, the ownership of the idea that maybe you are a current, you hold a current, a particular political view, you hold a particular nationality, maybe it's about your gender, your preference, your likes, your tastes, your religious views, your political views, your moral views, or anything for that matter. And it must work to protect that. So you begin to appreciate how these things work, the mechanism or how your mind, the machine of your mind, how it works. And that's how you begin to develop more emotional self-understanding, emotional intelligence. So again, to sum up real quick, in a nutshell, the goal here is to watch your mind, what it is that your mind is doing in the here and now, and try to watch it as if you are trying to study its own nature. Watch it with a sense of curiosity, without judgment, right? Watch it without judgment. So what does that mean? So for example, if you notice yourself judging something, judging your ex-partner, judging your boss, and maybe you don't like that, maybe because you like to think of yourself as a kind, compassionate person, and you want to stop yourself from judging, just notice that too. And you will learn a lot more about your own nature, I guarantee you. And this helps you to develop more patience and more understanding for other people as well, because you understand that they are going through the same process that you are going through in their own way. And this helps to reduce judgments. And it also cultivates understanding and compassion. And of course, the key is it comes from cultivating self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Okay, I hope this video was valuable for you. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. สวัสดีครับ